Everyone knows I smoke weed anyway. And so I called him back up and I said, I'll do it.
But we were fortunate enough to meet Tommy Hilfiger and his team, and they took a look at our project, put us through a lot of due diligence, which was good, and is now a co-founder and a real day-to-day contributor, that entire team.
The newspaper article read, California man sentenced to life in prison for 40 tons of weed. And that was Corvain Cooper. Corvain Cooper is a friend of mine of 27 years. When we finally decided to move forward with the brand and coming up with a name for it, Corvain was like, we gotta call it 40 tons because what took us down is gonna bring us back up.
Every market has its challenges with regulation, but California has had a lot of very vocal operators that are really pointing to regulators and to policy and saying this is not working, there has to be change, otherwise the unregulated market is going to eat away at the regulated market, therefore you guys aren't gonna get what you want in return, which is making more money, et cetera, et cetera.
Thanks for joining today, Berner.
Right on for having me, man. Good times to be alive. When I went to go visit my dad back in California in 7th, 8th grade-ish, I think it was 7th grade-ish, I saw Cali Bud and fell in love ever since. And, the San Francisco Bay Area has always had an incredible independent music scene, from E40 to Mac Dre to San Quinn, JT the Bigger Figure, Rapper Forte, the list goes on. So I just knew my love for the bud and the culture in the Bay was missed when I was in Arizona, and did whatever I had to do to make my way back to the Bay.
And so if you train professionals well, they go out and they build a sustainable industry. They build a powerful industry. So I'm really passionate about trying to get more cannabis companies to embrace the value of this training and these credentials, because I fundamentally believe, as somebody who really cares about the adoption of cannabis worldwide, that's the most effective way to get that in record time.
At the end of the day, you're trying to build brands here, because brands are going to be the value drivers going forward. And building a brand takes time. You have to be consistent about it. You have to be thoughtful and relentless about projecting consistent story over and over again through every customer touch point, the packaging, the product experience, if it's retail, and make sure everyone's aligned around that.
As I was sitting on a stage talking to 200 and something people, and it was the first time that I was sharing my experience with cannabis. After hearing myself share my story, I realized I don't have nothing to be ashamed about. And after I spoke, I was walking around the conference, and people kept coming up to me and basically telling me, that I was their hero. That when I decided to walk away from the NFL, encourage them to stand up to their parents or their teacher or their coach and really own their cannabis use. And I was like, wow, I didn't know that I affected anyone with all of that. And at that moment, I realized, okay, this, I've tried to get away from it. I've tried not to face it, but this is going to be a part of my life.